Jesus changed your life, but your past is still a bit complicated. And so is your family, let's be honest. And sitting across from a Christian guy on a date, nervous he'll find out who you used to be, no one prepares you for that. My husband was a virgin when we met. I was not. So let's talk about it. Hello. Welcome back to another episode where I talk about dating as a Christian. In this episode specifically, I will touch base on how it feels to date when you have a past, as in a BC life, before Christ. Someone that used to live, probably wasn't part of the purity culture, probably had sex in the past, and the shame that it comes with when you enter Christ. And when you repent, you know that you are clean in the eyes of the Lord, but are you clean in the eyes of your future husband? That has always been a Christian context. My husband is 7 years younger than me, and he grew up in Jamaica and I grew up in Sweden, and somehow we met in the UK. Now, he was born and raised in a beautiful household that fears the Lord, and he gave his life to Christ when he was 17. I was not raised in a beautiful household that praised and feared the Lord. And as you can imagine, it really did feel like God was on a mission to break every single stereotype when we started dating. I am older, he's younger. I was the one with the past, like the woman, and the man was the one that was pure. We almost also broke up during dating because we didn't understand the way we communicated to each other. And if we had listened to that then, we wouldn't have had this beautiful, godly marriage that is like literally, I'm living my dream with my best friend. I'm just so thankful that we submitted to the Holy Spirit in the midst of all the misunderstandings that we had. But the reason why I am creating this video is because I made so many mistakes when I was communicating to Sean, my then dating partner and my now husband. Something I've learned along the way is also there's no content in Christian dating when it comes to Christian dating whatsoever, especially if you've had a past, and how to navigate that, how to, talk about these things openly and honestly. And this one is for the girls that are in a dating season and that are dating someone and just don't know what to do, because you can listen to the aunties, and let's be real, the aunties are amazing, but they got married 20 years ago. There's so much wisdom in the church when it comes to godly marriages. But bro, when it comes to dating in 2026, especially after COVID, everything just kind of ramped up. And it was like dating apps, not dating apps, mega churches, small churches, like you don't know anybody in your small church, but then you go to a mega church and you're unknown and you don't know how deep they are in their faith and how you're supposed to meet someone. And when you do meet someone, what are you supposed to do? What's the standards and what's not the standards? And everybody tells you different things because they dated in a different era. One thing that is a fantastic resource for people that are dating is the marriage course. But when you're dating, and especially if you're early on, you don't want to go and tell your spouse, like, hey, do you want to do the marriage course? Because, like, it's too heavy. The name is too heavy. The name is instigating, like, hey, we're going to get married. Hey, we're going to get, like, blah, blah, blah. And at the moment, you're in an assessing stage where you're assessing if this is going to be your husband, because that's what dating is. So, and it really doesn't help that, like, the Bible has, like, zero, like, when it comes to zero dating advice. The only thing we kind of get from dating is, like, the Songs of Solomon's when they're about to be engaged or betrothed back in the days. And all I'm reading is like, he's calling her a horse, like, all the time. And yes, I know way back in the day, it was like because she was beautiful and blah, 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 blah. But the metaphors aren't helping. It's just a poem about how they're like madly in love with each other. And that's great, but what do we do then? I hope this video will bring you some clarity and some wisdom. I am going to narrow it down in 3 categories, and honestly, I wish I had learned all of them, but most importantly, the last one, it almost cost our relationship. So I'm gonna do a do's and don'ts, because that's the easiest way I absorb information, and as always, receive what feels right to you and reject what doesn't. Always choose the Holy Spirit over any YouTuber. Always choose the Bible over any YouTuber. And I hope that's helpful for you. All right, let's get into it. Do be honest, girl. And if you're any guys that is looking at this, like, be honest. Be honest when it comes to the tough topics. I'm talking sex, debt, marriage, future kids, what you want, what you don't want, where you want to live. All of these things. Be honest, because if you're holding back that you have 100K in debt, that's not good. And I'm not saying just like, hey, on your first date being like, hi, I suffer from infertility and I can't have kids. That's me, by the way. I can't carry kids naturally, blah, blah, blah. I also have a 6K credit card debt. I am horrible in this. I'm messy. I'm clean messy, but like all of the flat is like my flat just looks upside. No, of course I didn't say that to Chris when I first. Also, by the way, he's Shauna and Chris. Don't ask, he's Jamaican. Of course I didn't say that to Chris on the first day, but I did say, hey, I have just come out of a cancer treatment and I'm in year 2 being in clinical remission. I am working 24/7. I really want to do life for God, nothing else. You know, I was really like evident with where I was going, what I wanted. It's important that you really and truly are being honest. I think I told Sean about my infertility on like date 3. It shows that you respect him, you respect his time. I think I had sat with the Lord and knew that my value wasn't in my ability to conceive children or not, you know? And if my future husband would see that as the case and didn't want to marry me because I couldn't carry children, which is valid, then I have to give him the opportunity to go before I tangle him in loads of emotions. It's just me being respectful of me being respectful of him. It's the same if you carry 100K debt. It could be anything. It could be death. It could be a medical history. It could be something that you kind of don't want to share. If you're dating with the intent of marriage, I think it's important to be honest and upfront with what's in your closet. And also what you're doing when you are sharing is that you're showing a self-awareness. You know what's not wrong with you, but you know that you have areas in your life that you need to work on. And I think that is incredibly attractive, to be completely honest. Do not trauma dump. Like, there is a fine line between being honest and trauma dumping. This one changed everything for me, like everything. And if you're doing this, it's fine, we can stop it. But do not trauma dump. And what I mean by that is, like, for example, if you had an ex that cheated on you, do not vomit that all over your relationship. Do not bring that energy into your new dating situation. If you're in a Christian dating, assume that he's following the Lord until he proves that he doesn't, you know? Oh, my ex cheated on me. I was so scared. That's why when you were out, I needed to text you a million times because I wasn't trusted for him, blah, 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 blah. And he used to do this with me and I used to cry in the middle of the night. And yeah, what it sounds like to your partner is that you're not over him, you're not over that. It sounds like you're thinking about your partner. It sounds like you're thinking about your ex-partner when you're dating this new partner. To be honest, it's not a nice feeling for them. Did I do this? You bet I did. Am I coming for you? I am not. But what I learned was that it wasn't helpful for me and Sean. Did my ex have Olympic gold in like being the worst boyfriend? Yes, probably, most likely, to be honest. But I was over it. So why was I projecting what I knew towards my future? The only thing it hurt was our expectations of each other. And he misunderstood what I was saying because I was just like, okay, my nervous system is kind of alerted, you know, because of what has happened to me. So I'm hyper vigilant when I'm watching you. That is not what I said though, because I didn't have the terminology or the words to understand what was going on. What I did do was to compare constantly and trauma dump of what had happened to me, which is not ideal for your future husband. Like, your future husband perhaps don't want to know these things. And if he do want to know these things, he's not your shrink. He's supposed to be your husband. He's not your God. He's not Jesus. He's your husband. He can be your best friend, but he's your husband. So I think if they say that they don't want to know these things, the same thing goes with the amount of people you've had sex with, what you've done. Sometimes I have noticed that when you verbally process things, and if you do feel some sort of shame or guilt in that particular aspect of it, the most likely factor is that you want to just release all of that and just tell of your partner that, and then for your partner to validate you, and then you move on. But your partner might not want that visual. He might not want to know what you've done and what you haven't done. He might accept that you have a past, but he wants to get over it. The other one is also, don't get too nitty-gritty in details if you can't handle it. I asked Sean if he had done anything in the past, and he said like, oh yeah, a couple of blah, 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 blah. I don't have to go into details. I asked details. I was like, where, when, who was it, blah, blah, blah. And that ate me up. Like, why did I do that? Like, and he was like, why do you want to know? And I'm like, I'm curious. I can handle it. I couldn't handle it. No point in trauma dumping or going into details if your new life is in Christ. So there's a fine line with being able to say, hey, I've had a past, and trauma dumping. And I highly, highly, highly recommend not to compare or not to trauma dump. Because in the beginning, when I was trauma dumping, I thought I was being transparent, but in reality, I wasn't. When my partner said, I actually don't want to know that, respect their boundary. Because at this point, it's not about cleaning your conscience, it's about loving them well as well. So find that fine line between being honest and trauma dumping. And if you, like me, have trauma dumped or are trauma dumping in your relationship right now, don't panic. Look, we're happily married. We barely talk about things like that anymore. I'm healed, he's healed. It works. But the honest thing I can tell you is stop. Just don't do anymore. Be aware of the fact that you're doing it, and just be mindful of the fact that your nervous system is probably hypervigilant. Don't project what happened to you upon the person that you're dating. So don't expect them to make the same mistakes or do the same thing as the previous. And I know that is really, really, really hard, but do you know who can handle it? Jesus. He really can, and he wants it all. So just lean on him all the time, and you'll be surprised. If the dude that you're dating is fully Christian, you'll be surprised how often you're wrong about their intentions because you've been damaged. Just zip it, zip it, pray, let the conclusion come to itself. Don't get an Olympic medal and jump into conclusions like I did. Do trust God, okay? The way you are, what your heart's desire is, Lord made you in your womb. You will have certain desires that are from God. For example, super business wired, and I'm quite salesy, and I love business, and so does my husband. For a lot of people, that can be slightly intimidating because I'm not your typical girl's girl. And I was in a lot of sales roles in my corporate life. And to some people, that can be quite intimidating because I have no problem asking you anything. I'm comfortable in confrontation. What you don't want to do is shrink your personality. You want to adapt in front of you. I'm not telling you not. There's the parts of you that you should never be able to change on behalf of your husband or the person that you're dating, out of respect and boundaries for each other. But don't dim who you are. Trust God. With my salesy personality, that can come across as quite intimidating for someone that is seeking more of a gracious, calm, gentle girl. That might be a teacher, I always admire these girls. I always wanted to be one of them. But Lord knows that if I walk past the school for over a minute and I just hear all the screams, I don't know where to go. I'm not graced for that. And that's okay because we all are different. So don't pretend that you're somebody else just to fit in. Trust God with how he made you, because there will be someone out there for you that can handle you, if that makes sense. One thing that really, really did scare me though with Christian dating is that I actually cannot carry children naturally, and that does really feel like a part of my femininity is just gone. So my ability to produce an offspring for my husband is zero. And that is something that I really, really struggle with, because most of my life I have really combined value with worth. So what I can bring to the table is what I'm worth, for example, and the fact that I cannot produce, that I am worthless. So I've kind of low-key accepted that I would be single for the rest of my life, because no Christian man would ever want somebody that could not carry a child. But what I was determined to do is to tell Sean the truth, because he needed to know, and he needed to make that decision quite early to see whether he wanted to be with me or not. Do you know what's so funny with our God is the craziest thing, especially now that I know him 10 times better than I did when I was dating him. Sean is the biggest analytical mind I've ever met. He's run a business for 10 years, and he is incredibly critical thinking. I know he wants biological children, and I know that he really desires a family. But when I told him, he went home and he prayed, and God calmed his heart. And he said, he came back and he was like, God really calmed my heart. And he said it to me, he said, it's very interesting, because I started checking out how much surrogacy will cost, and it was so expensive. I was just so calmed by the Lord, and he gave me the supernatural peace. Fine with it. I trust him. And that for me was just wild, because not only was my biggest fear wasn't even dealt by me, it was dealt by the Lord. You know what I mean? It is just insane, but he is on your side, and he will always be on your side. Trust him with everything. Just know that you've done right by the book by being honest. That's what Jesus is requiring from you. And it could be the same thing with death. It could be the same thing with the sexual past. It could be the same thing with whatever it is that you have over you that you feel like you don't want to share in your Christian dating space. When the time is right, I suggest you do it. I suggest you do it sooner rather than later, but trust the Holy Spirit. And I'm telling you, if that's the one, then God got you covered. It is mad. Now looking back at it now, even seeing how he calculates things, seeing how long he thinks ahead. Now that I'm married to him, I was like, it is such a miracle that you would just like, oh yeah, no, I trust Lord with kids because I know he desires them. So it's wild. What I'm trying to say with this testimony is that if he can do it for me, he can do it for you. There's nothing that you have done that could scare your godly husband away. There's nothing, because God is in it. Like, it's just the craziest thing ever, but I really want you to know that. So therefore, don't start living in secret in your dating life. Like, live open, live in the light, and you will see that the right husband will come to you. I just know it. And don't. This is, I touched on it lightly before, but my goodness, girl or guy, please don't assume intent on behalf of your partner. Goodness me, especially if you are like me, if you come from a big of a past, like, you learn how to be hyper vigilant, you learn how to observe like surroundings, and 9 out of 10 times you're most likely right. But my goodness, when you're dating someone so different from you, from a different country, different everything, upbringing, all of it, like, it's impossible for you to understand the intent that person is carrying, especially in dating seasons. I was friends with my husband now for like a year and a half before we even started dating. I thought I knew him. I did not. Let me tell you, I did not. I didn't know him from a romantic point of view. He didn't know me from a romantic point of view. So please do not be like me and get a gold Olympics in jumping to conclusions, because the amount of fights, misunderstandings, almost breaking up we had because I was jumping to conclusions constantly with his intent was mad. One stupid thing I remember just on the back of this is that he never says goodbye when he hangs up the phone. He's like, okay, I see you. Click. And I'm just like, is he upset with me? Why is he upset? Is it that I've done anything? But if he's upset, the only thing I can think of is him being upset with me because I did that thing. But if he's upset with me because I did that thing, then his standard is really, really high, and I can't meet that. And all of a sudden I'm calling him and being like, you think you want a perfect wife? I'm not gonna be perfect. But when he's like, what just happened? I literally hung up 5 minutes ago. I'm watching my show. I have no idea why you jumped to that conclusion. And I'm like, you didn't say goodbye. He's like, what are you talking about? And it's so funny because I'm just like, why are you trying to gaslight me? I just took it further and further. And then just like, I just realized that like I have to just drop it at some point. I don't know what, maybe it was Holy Spirit, but I just learned not to assume intent. And what's funny is that I was in Jamaica with them this December, and the way that they speak on the phone to each other is the most loving family, by the way. But the way that they speak on the phone with each other is that they don't say bye. So I was on the phone with like his mom, who's like the closest image of Jesus on this side of eternity that I can even think of. And she was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And then she just, oh yeah, we're like, okay, cool, fine, okay. Click. It's just like they actually just don't say bye to each other. It could be something that silly, you know, and I just don't want you to be like me. But it could also be like, okay, babe, I am running late. I am sitting with the boys and we're having a good talk, you know? If that was BC life, we all know. Let's not even go into it. If you clicked on this video, you know. That happened to me. I almost left the ring on the Bible as I left his house. The drama is real, but seriously, just don't. Like, give him the benefit of the doubt. Don't assume on his behalf. And if you can stop doing those things, and if you're doing those things, it will transform your relationship. Because the piece is, if you go with God and if you don't assume on his behalf, and he is proven to be one of those, then the truth will come forth. And you know what? Fine. It's not that it's not that you weren't wrong, it's not that you weren't right. It was just that you were trying to give him space to be himself without assuming, right? And once you've done that, that's all you can do. But if he's good, the delight that is waiting on the other side of not assuming is just something I want to show a lot of girls. I just want to take my heart and just show it to them, being like, this is the life that Jesus offers you with the love. This is the love that he wants for you. This is the marriage that was supposed to reflect the bride. Like, here, take my heart and just put it in you and feel this feeling. You can go to sleep. You can go to sleep in the middle of the night if he's out, knowing that he will come home. You know that he is always telling you the truth. You have the best intentions for each other. You always listen when he's critiquing you, because you know he's not trying to push you down. He's trying to lift you up, and vice versa. It is the most beautiful thing in the world, and I just don't want any girls or guys that are dating that doesn't know what they're doing, that is doing the shift before a BC life to a Christian life and is dating with the past and just like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? I just don't want you guys to make any mistakes and fumble because you were unprepared. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I hope you found value in this video. I loved filming it. I'm so sweaty. And I hope my transitions made sense and the editing did make sense. And if you like this topic, please let me know if you want me to film more of this. If you have any other questions, I talk about most things here. I talk about my cancer diagnosis, my infertility, my Crohn's. I talk about my faith when God doesn't heal. Talk about my beautiful friends, my cats, my outfits, whatever it is that you want. I really love filming on YouTube, and I really want to grow this community for your Christian girls, and for us to just be honest and vulnerable when life isn't slapping and when life is slapping. All right, that was it for me. I love you. Bye.